The Dayton Police Department is investigating an incident last month in which officers pulled a paraplegic black man from his car by his hair. So now, unsurprisingly, this has to do with some profiling here. Now, NPR reports that officers had stopped Clifford Owensby on September 30th as he was driving away from what officers say was a suspected drug house. So, well, the guy's coming back from a drug house. And so, he's got a history of past felony drug and weapons charges. So what we're going to do is we're going to flag him down and have a canine unit do his, conduct a free air sniff of the car just to see if he's got any drugs. So that's according to police. Now, to do that, officers told Owensby that he would have to step out of the car, according to body camera footage released by the department. So now he responded, of course, to this as saying, well, I can't get out of the car because I'm disabled. I'm a paraplegic. Nonetheless, I'm going to show you this video. It's going to be very disturbing to you, but it's important to watch this to get the context of what happened. Take a look.
I cannot step out. I'm a paraplegic. I cannot. I'm a paraplegic, sir. Come on, bro. I cannot step out of the car. I cannot step out of the vehicle.
You got in the car. You can get out of the car. You got in the car.
Hello. Come down the street. Come bring cameras and bring somebody so they can witness what's going on. Can you call your white shirt, please? If you pull me out of here, you better expect.
So here's the thing. I'm gonna pull you out, and then I'll call a white shirt because you're getting out of the car. That's not an option. So you're getting out of this car. So you can cooperate and get out of the car, or I'll drag you out of the car. You see your two options here?
I know I got right.
Now, what would you like to do, sir?
I would like for you to call your white shirt.
I will. Get out of the car.
Come on, bro.
Get out of the car. Get out of the car.
Listen.
Get out of the car.
I am a paraplegic, bro. You can fucking hurt me.
Get out of the car.
You can hurt me, bro.
Get out of the car. Get out of the car.
What are y'all doing, bro? I'm a paraplegic, bro.
You're making this work.
I'm a paraplegic, bro. I'm trying to tell you that I got help getting in the car. Y'all can fucking hurt me. They can hurt me.
Get out of the car.
Damn, bro. I'm a paraplegic. Ow.
You have to get out of the car.
Ow.
Get out of the car.
Somebody help. Somebody help.
Something right here.
Somebody help.
Stop.
Somebody help.
Stop.
Someone help.
Stop.
So are y'all recording this?
Stop.
Somebody help. I'm a paraplegic.
Stop.
They are doing the they're please help me. Somebody please help me.
Stop.
You are hurting me. I'm a fucking paraplegic.
Stop.
I'm a paraplegic.
Stop.
I'm a paraplegic.
Stop.
I'm a paraplegic.
Make this worse than it needs to be.
I'm a paraplegic. I gave y'all everything.
That's fine.
I gave y'all everything y'all asked for.
Cooperate.
Can y'all call the white shirt? Can y'all call the real police, please? Ow! Motherfuckers is doing me wrong, man.
All right, so obviously super disturbing. You guys, like, I'm a paraplegic. Step out of the car. Step out of the car. I can't. I literally can't. Oh, well, don't worry. We'll assist you then. Well, that you just saw what police assistance looked like. And for those of you who say, well, you should have gotten out of the car, you should have followed orders. Okay, but was there any guarantee that he wouldn't have gotten hurt anyway? I mean, again, this is not the correct way to handle somebody who has a disability during a traffic stop. It's just not. And by the way, criminal history or not doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. What happened is he was having his rights violated during a traffic stop. So you might be asking, what rights? What rights is he has? Criminal. Well, first of all, he wasn't actually charged with anything or being arrested. They were just literally trying to get him out of the car. So now the rights that he has would happen under the Americans with Disability Act because he has a disability. So now let me explain. Title II of the ADA provides that people with a disability must be able to participate in the services, programs, or activities of a public entity, which would be the cops. and that their disability must be reasonably accommodated. Meaning that the police, if he asked them, which he did, hey, can you get a white shirt, which of course would be a supervisor, a police supervisor, for them to ask, okay, can you maybe do this for me so I can get out of the car? But no, he said, I can't get out. I can't get out. I'm paraplegic. I can't get out. I have a disability. They did not hear him whatsoever. They did not listen to him whatsoever. And they proceeded to drag him out of the car. So now, this actually comes from a case back in 2013, the ADA, the City and County of San Francisco versus Sheehan. So a woman, Teresa Sheehan, had threatened police with a knife. So they came into this assisted, this mental health facility, okay, this mental health home, and she had a knife, and they came into her room, and she said, she held a knife, and she said, don't come into my room. Don't come into my room, or I will stab you. I will hurt you. So, you know, if you try to arrest me, whatever. So they retreated. And then decided, no, we can't have that. We're going to come back in and go after her. Sheehan was then pepper sprayed and shot. Now, she miraculously survived and ended up suing. So Sheehan argued that Title II of the ADA also applied to arrests, and that the officers should have taken her mental illness into account when entering and re-entering her room. And under the ADA, you can, of course, do accommodations. Now, her proposed accommodations for that were respecting her comfort zone, engaging in non-threatening communication, and using the passage of time to diffuse or de-escalate the situation. So now, the Ninth Circuit took a look at that and agreed, and said that Title II of the ADA does apply to arrests, and concluded that re-entry into her room violated her Fourth Amendment rights because it was unreasonable search and seizure. Although Sheehan needed help, the officers had no reason to believe that a delay in entering her room could cause her serious harm. Now, again, this is from police who eventually pepper sprayed and shot her. So it looks like in that case, the police caused her way more harm than she was causing anybody else, especially when weighed against the likelihood that this case continues, that a deadly confrontation would ensue if they had forced this confrontation. So in this case, police forced a confrontation because they did not give this man his reasonable accommodation. He said, I want to talk to a manager. I want to talk to a supervisor. And maybe so we can work something out on how to get me out of the car. Because understandably, he did not want those officers to take him out of the car. He did not trust those officers to handle him with care. And obviously, his concern was justified from that video. The guy was not a danger to police. This was over the possibility that he was either dealing or doing drugs, which again, we don't really know about that part. They didn't find any drugs in the car. And again, I don't really care if they did or not. It doesn't really matter. It's immaterial. And by the way, why are drugs still illegal? Oh, well, they're dangerous. You could hurt yourself or someone else by doing those drugs. So we're going to protect you by dragging you out of a car, a disabled person, by your hair. And, you know, in order to protect you, of course. Now, the cops did say this. They said, well, we found a bag of money. We found $22,450 in the car. Plus, our canine dogs, our dogs had a positive hit on it. They alerted on it. Oh, yes, yes. Now, alerted basically means that it was that the police dog showed that it might have been in the vicinity of illegal drugs at some point. Now, here's the issue with that. Drug dogs are wrong a lot. Now, according to the Washington Post, multiple analysis of drug dog alerts have consistently showed alarmingly high error rates, with some close to and exceeding 50%. Unreliable. Completely unreliable. And by the way, that's not always the dog's fault, right? Dogs, of course, are bred to please. They're humans, right? And so for some units, the police handlers could be sending unintentional signals. In other cases, police handlers may have trained the dogs to alert on command so that they can then further go and make arrests. So both of those things happen. Now, a 2010 study found that packages designed to trick handlers into thinking that there were drugs inside them were much more likely to trigger false alerts than packages designed to trick the dogs. So we got major issues with this. Major issues. And finally, again, it's noted that in the arrests, it wasn't even an arrest, by the way, Owensby was cited for two things, none of them involving drugs or the money. He was cited for failing to restrain a child that was in the back seat. There was a 3-year-old in the back, and having tinted windows. So he left a suspected drug house with tinted windows, and that's why they pulled him over. And that's why this entire thing happened. And yet, again, what about the drugs, right? No drugs, no drugs, just money, which apparently black people are not allowed to have. They're not allowed to have large sums of money or drive nice cars, which you can see that was a nice car. Not only that, but according to the Dayton Daily News, a police report also cited Owensby for obstructing official business and resisting arrest, but was not charged with either offense. Resisting arrest. Resisting arrest. Where was he going to go? He's not getting up and running away. He's paraplegic. He can't use his legs. Jesus Christ. And again, they literally, I showed you, they dragged him to their car, which could have done more damage to his spine. You don't do that. You don't manhandle a person with a spinal injury. You don't manhandle anybody, but especially somebody with a spinal injury. Now, as far as I know, he went to the hospital afterwards and was released. So, as far as we know, no like permanent damage to him, other than the fact that he's already disabled. All right. So now, if that's not frustrating enough, this entire thing, if your blood's not boiling, this is a response from the police. This is President of Dayton Fraternal Order of Police Lodge 44, Jerome Dix. Emphasis on the Dix. He said, the officers had followed the law, their training, and departmental policies. Well, as I just noted to you, they did not give him reasonable accommodation under the Americans with Disabilities Act, meaning that they did not follow the law. Sometimes, he says, the arrest of non-compliant individuals is not pretty, but is a necessary part of law enforcement to maintain public safety, Mr. Dix told the Dayton Daily News. I'm sorry, how are you, protecting the public safety by dragging a black man out of his car, a disabled black man out of his car, for like no reason? Come on. So apparently now we know something about the Dayton Police Department, that their departmental policies are all about violating people's rights under the ADA, especially if they're black. And that dragging them back out of their car by their hair and down the street is necessary for good policing, for public safety. Bullshit. Thanks for admitting how completely fucked up this country is when it comes to law enforcement. Come on. There were so many different ways, better ways that you can handle this than what we saw. Again, all for what? Tinted window and a kid without a seatbelt. Which, by the way, for me, that is a big thing. You should probably seatbelt your kids. That said, if this guy can't get in and out of his car by himself, which he can't, well then, how's he going to buckle in a 3-year-old? So that's not even his fault. Like, he can't do anything about it. So it's probably the person that helped the kid into the car. And not even his fault. Oh, my God. And again, that's the real issue here, right? But I'm guessing the officers weren't too concerned about the child. No. They were concerned about the stack of money and to try to make an easy drug arrest, which blew up in their face. I'm guessing that this man is probably going to come into some much bigger money as a result of Officer Jackass. It's just another example of why qualified immunity needs to go. I'm pretty sure the citizens are real tired of paying for the mistakes of garbage police like this. If you enjoyed this video, please give us a like and share with your friends. You can subscribe and help out the channel by becoming a patron. It's patreon.com/Jeff Waldorf, or you can become a channel member as well by hitting the join button below.